want to talk about education and the fact that, correct, it is not an either-or proposition. And for not having PowerPoint, that's a little bit of an issue for me. I went out and spent a lot of money on a really expensive card so that I could keep my points all laid out for myself. Because when you have ADD and multiple voices in your head, you tend to rabbit track at different times. So I need something to keep me on track. And people in the audience are already laughing because they know how that happens. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. And it started before I came to Hamilton. When I walked into the doors of Hamilton Community Schools, they had already been having a long-standing conversation around grading. And grading is a really hot topic when you push on teachers who strongly hold things dear to themselves. And we have a lot of grading practices, and I'm not going to get up on that soapbox, that really, really suck. And that's a nice way of saying it. Extra credit, things like that, giving zeros, putting kids in a hole so deep that they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But that all was happening at a time in which we started to look at what could education look like. And we know from our work with employers and the community as a whole, our kids are coming out of our systems lacking the skills that they need to be productive citizens. And this isn't a conversation about what business wants us to do. This is a conversation about what we're doing to ourselves. We have a standardized test. And I'm not here to talk about accountability or the lack of accountability. You can hold me accountable for the stuff that we do all day. But to measure our kids by a single test score is so short-sighted and detrimental to who they are that we have to do something about it. And so we opened up a conversation in Hamilton that said, let's separate and let's talk about, give kids feedback on not just the content, but on skills. And when we take content and skills and we put them in context, kids own their learning. That's a different model than we use in test prep or getting our kids ready to perform on this one big test. And so we started that conversation, and it was tough. And I remember the day that I had a teacher walk up to me and say, I hear you talk about these skills for success that the Ottawa ISD has created with the business community. I hear that. But I'm a social studies teacher, and I teach this content. So what do you want me to do? Content or skills? And I said both. This isn't an either or. We can have both if we build a model in which we present that to kids and walk them through experiences in which naturally and organically they demonstrate the content knowledge and their development of skills. And we took it a step farther and said, we expect kids, and we have rubrics now that talk about collaboration and teamwork. But just like content, we have to teach that. We have to teach kids how to work together, how to collaborate, how to be creative. That doesn't just happen organically for them. So we started that, and we struggled. And then I had an amazing group of teachers, just like you have in your buildings and in your districts across the state, that came to me and said, hey, Tebo, what if we took a group of middle school students, and we've got a partnership with our local nature center, the Outdoor Discovery Center. We had already built a nature-based preschool with them. And what if we partner with them at the middle school level? I said, tell me more. He said, well, what if we took 2 teachers, one who's certified in science and one who's certified in math, and we said to you, we want 60 kids for half a day. And we don't want the bells to ring, and we don't want them to change classes. And we don't want to have a curriculum map in which we say, here's science standard 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and we walk lockstep through this process. What if we went out to the community and we took the training that we have from the ISD in project-based learning and the training that you've given us through blended learning, and we created an ecosystem for kids that looked different. And then we would be outside with them in the community, in the water, in the woods, and we would go find authentic, real-world problems that we would solve. And then as master teachers, we would lay the science and the math content on top of that driving question or that opportunity. And when we started to talk about this more, it was amazing. Not only did the Outdoor Discovery Center come and say, hey, we want to help. Hayworth came to say they wanted to help. Herman Miller, Gentex, and a number of businesses in our community came out. We had a private donor who was in the community who said, this looks so good, I will pay for any transportation that your kids have to get them off-site, get them out of those cinder block classrooms and engaging in the real world around them. So we built STREAM. STREAM is an acronym for basically multi-content, multi-teacher, authentic, engaging experiences for kids, in which we put 60 kids in a half-day program with 2 teachers. They get their content from the math and 7th grade math and 7th grade science. They get multiple electives. We have kids that, because they were outside and walked so much, literally lost weight. You want to talk about physical education and changing the way that it impacts a kid's life? Watch kids who are out walking and learning 3-4 times a day literally shed weight. Watch them go from huffing and puffing half a mile in to being able to walk miles on end, not just by themselves, but carrying the equipment and resources needed to go out and test the water quality in the watershed for Lake Makatawa. So, what I want you to take away from this is that there are a lot of ways for us to get to our kids. There are a lot of ways to do what we do. If we continue to do what we've always done, we're going to get the same result. It's the definition of insanity. We have amazing educators. We have lots and lots of rules given to us by legislators who have no right talking to us about what we do and how we do it. We have rules given to us by a Department of Education, which has very few educators in it and is built to do things that put us in a box. I have 2 kids. One is in 7th grade. He's never been more excited to go to school because his teachers take risks, because his teachers push the envelope, because they have a superintendent who's willing to remove roadblocks and to start with yes and not no, to ask what if, to give them some wings beneath the wings that they have, with some wind beneath the wings that they have, to allow them to soar and do great things for kids. We can continue to do what we do and try to get kids to a higher level on a test score, but I think we have an opportunity to do something bigger. My 9-year-old and my 12-year-old deserve it, and so do yours. So does every kid that walks through our doors. This is not an either-or profession. And it's not one in which we can sit behind what's always happened and the difficult conversations that it'll take to move us forward. We are given a gift, an opportunity to work with kids and teachers in a new way. My challenge to you, are you willing to move us forward, to become what we can be for kids? We have an opportunity like we've had no other. We have phenomenal people that walk the halls of our classrooms. There are phenomenal people sitting in this room. My child is more than a test score. And it's time that we have the courage to tell that story. Thank you.